HTC have burst right onto the dual-core scene with what they hope will be a class-leading Android device. The HTC Sensation promises to be more than a smartphone, but in fact a superphone, with an array of features and improvements for the brand that offer no compromise with no corners cut. A brief look over the device confirms HTC's strong design language, as their marriage of rubberized plastics and aluminium curving across the phone is well laid out, creating a clean look for the eye and a nice feel in the hand. On the front of the device, you're presented with the 4 rudimentary capacitive Android buttons along the bottom, and the earpiece, proximity and ambient light sensors, and a front-facing fixed-focused VGA camera running in parallel along the top. Sandwiched in the middle is a monster 4.3-inch QHD LCD, set behind a layer of Gorilla Glass. The left side houses the volume rocker and a micro USB port, and the right side has been left completely blank, adding to the nature of that clean design. On the top sits the power key and a 3.5mm standard audio jack, and on the bottom sits the latch to open the back panel. The back of the phone rounds everything off with the loudspeaker grille and the 8MP camera, accompanied by a dual LED flash. So a promising start to say the least, but HTC have defaulted on what was initially expected to be a full unibody design, akin to the HTC Legend. The Sensation opts for a suitable wraparound back panel instead, that can fall when not under scrutiny. The Sensation's hardware is not to be sniffed at. A 1.2 GHz dual-core is accompanied by an Adreno 220 GPU and 1GB of internal storage, expandable via SD card up to 32GB. The weak point here being the 768MB of RAM, which when compared to some of the direct rivals could be considered a little on the low side, although rest assured, it's still no slouch by any means. Connectivity promises Wi-Fi 802.11bgn with hotspot functionality, HSDPA and HSUPA support, Bluetooth 3.0 with 8.2DP support, DLNA, and a micro USB port with MHL support. The top-notch hardware also means that the 8MP camera can shoot 1080p HD video at 30 frames a second. At the London announcement of the Sensation back in April, we also got our first glimpse of the latest iteration of HTC's UI overlay, HTC Sense version 3.0. The Sensation comes running Android 2.3.3 Gingerbread out of the box, and the Sense experience features some notable improvements that work really well. One of which is the new lock screen design, allowing quick access to your most commonly used features and customizable lock screens that can display a host of information. Beyond the lock screen, however, Sense takes on a far more familiar feel, with a good choice of HTC-made widgets attachable to any of the 7 user panes, and as it's Gingerbread, the notifications window includes a quick settings tab for switching the device's various connectivity options on and off, and a task manager to free up memory. Speaking of connectivity, the Sensation does suffer from the dreaded death grip. Squeeze the device too tight or cover the parts of the back face acting as the antenna, and Wi-Fi signal strength can drop to nothing. Cell signal takes a hit too, but the effect is nowhere near as dramatic. It's an issue that will crop up more commonly when using the phone in landscape, but it's not likely to cause frustration in its daily use, just something to be aware of. Using the Sensation, you notice that the screen is wonderfully sharp and vibrant, but suffers from colour and brightness degradation at more extreme viewing angles. Similarly, blacks are good, but with the true blacks of AMOLEDs on the market, it's hard not to feel that they could be a little deeper. The Sensation's display does have a unique feel, not from the display itself, but from the Gorilla Glass on top. The glass curves inwards along its edge, which is subtle but feels nice under finger, and it also helps protect the screen when the phone is face down. HTC cameras don't typically turn heads, and although the Sensation's 8MP unit is a step in the right direction, it still lacks a certain something. Images are vibrant and overall pleasing to the eye, but a little too much noise reduction and over-sharpening are apparent in the details. The lack of a hardware camera button is also a little disappointing, but to counteract this, continuous autofocus remains on by default. The Sensation also totes a dual LED flash that doubles as a video light, which is a welcome inclusion. Video quality is good and mimics the ups and downs of the stills. Being a top-end phone means that you need to have the best video quality on the market, and the fact that the Sensation delivers 1080p at 30 frames a second is a feat all its own. However, again, quality isn't quite there in the detail. The gap between 720p and 1080p actually isn't as dramatic as we'd like, but then again, the 720p is surprisingly good quality. Another feature that the Sensation can get a one-up on its rivals with is the inclusion of stereo sound during video, a nice feature that we'd like to see more of. The Sensation's strengths lie in its entertainment skills. Alongside full 1080p video playback, the inclusion of Sense 3.0 sees improvements to the music player, which can now be accessed from the notifications panel or the new custom lock screens with full cover art. The web browser complements the Sensation well with very fast loading times and faultless playback of Flash content within a web page including 720p videos and Flash-based games. There's a minimalist UI with hidden controls, and you can use gestures like double tap to zoom, which shows off the browser's text reflow abilities. There's such a large array of functions that the Sensation juggles, it's sometimes hard to keep track of where its strengths should lie. The imaging is good, but needs a little more work. Build quality is as usual excellent for HTC, and it provides a brilliant web browsing experience. It's trying hard to show up its main rivals, phones such as the Samsung Galaxy S2 and the LG Optimus 2X, and in some ways it has, in others it just misses the mark. But all that being said, the HTC Sensation is a phone that fans of the brand will love, and others might be seduced by. To really understand what the HTC Sensation brings to the table, check out our comparisons and the full written review on gsmarena.com.